Somebody mentioned something the other day. They call it white fragility. Another made-up word, just like white guilt. What the hell is white fragility? What the hell is white guilt? White fragility don't exist. White guilt don't exist. But let me look it up. Let me indulge the Negro consciousness for a minute. I'm going to Google white fragility. Let's get a definition for white fragility. Ooh, okay, let me see. What is white fragility? Come on, I need a definition. White fragility. Okay, here we go. Here we go. The New Yorker. A sociologist examines the white fragility that prevents white Americans from confronting racism. In more than 20 years of running a diversity training and cultural competency workshop for American companies, the academic and educator Robin DiAngelo has noticed that white people are sensationally, histrionically bad at discussing racism. Like waves on sand, their reactions form predictable patterns. They will insist that they were taught to treat everybody the same. Interesting. Let me say, white people insist that they were taught to treat everybody the same, that they are color blind, that they don't care if you are pink, purple, or polka dot. They will point to friends and family members of color, a history of civil rights activism, or more salient issue such as class or gender. They will shout and bluster. They will cry. In 2011, DiAngelo coined the term white fragility to describe the disbelieving defensiveness that white people exhibit when their ideas about racism and race and racism are challenged, and particularly when they feel implicated in white supremacy. Why, she wondered, did her feedback prompt such resistance, as if the mention of racism were more offensive than the fact or practice of it? Interesting. White people say that they are colorblind. It's a crazy Neanderthal gathering. Crazy Neanderthal alert. You know, you got to be careful with the Neanderthals. They have a gene that they'll just come outside one day and start shooting at people. It's part of the ice trauma. It's part of the ice trauma. But brothers and sisters, white people are not fragile about racism. I don't like the word white fragility because it makes white people look like they're victims. I don't like the word white fragility because it makes white people look like they're being victimized. White people are not fragile. You don't take over the whole world and be fragile. You don't commit mass murder and be fragile. You don't enslave hundreds of millions of people and consider and be fragile. White people are not fragile. There's no such thing as white fragility. They are simply practicing white denial, not fragility. And they're not in denial that they're racist, but they know black people have a need for white people to confess the truth. I want you to understand, overstand, and understand me right now. I want you to understand, overstand, and understand me right now. I want you to understand, overstand, and understand me right now. There's no such thing as white fragility. White people are not fragile. They're not victims. They're not innocent. White people deny racism, not because they don't know it exists. They know that the whole white supremacist world stands on a thin thread of white supremacy. They know that they practice racism. They have to in order to control the world. White people must practice racism in order to control the world. But the reason white people deny racism, the reason white people deny racism is so they don't have to be accountable or responsible for it. The reason white people deny racism is because they don't have to be accountable or responsible for it. But more importantly, white people also know that black people feel the need for white people to confess their crimes in order for us to heal. This is a very toxic concept. This is a very unhealthy approach to post-traumatic slavery disease. But a lot of black people think that the healing cannot begin until white people confess the fact that they are racist. So if you are a black person, who feels the need, if you are a black person who feels that white people have to confess that they are racist and that they practice racism in order for you to heal, then we are in trouble as a people. White people are never going to confess their racism. White culture is not based on honesty. White culture is not based on transparency. White culture is not based on compassion. White culture is not based on sympathy. White culture is based on power, domination, deception, dictatorship, and authoritarianism. But you got a lot of black folks running around, even in the conscious community. You got a lot of black folks running around, even in the conscious community, who have made it their life's work. You have a lot of black people running around who have made it their life's work to get white people to confess to being racist. Why do you need your enemy to admit he is your enemy? I don't understand this. All of us have enemies, right? You have enemies. I have enemies. White enemies, black enemies. We have enemies, right? We all have enemies. Do you need your enemy to tell you I'm your enemy? How many times have somebody come up to you and said, I am your enemy, I don't like you, I hate you, and I'm going to do anything I can to stop and destroy you? How many of your enemies confessed that they were your enemies? Most of us have never received a confession from our enemies that they were our enemies. It's totally ridiculous. It's totally ridiculous. It's totally ridiculous. So let me tell you why. Let me tell you why. Black people need white people to confess that they are their enemies. Let me tell you why black people need white people to confess that they are our enemies. The reason black people need white people to confess, black power, that they are our enemies is because black power, black people desire a friendly relationship with their oppressor. Yes, I'm at your school, my school, our school. I'm at your school, my school, our school. That building behind me is the John Jacques Dessalines Nat Turner Gymnasium. That building behind me is the John Jacques Dessalines Nat Turner Gymnasium. That's where we will be hosting the Woke Weekend. That will be the first building to be renovated. We working on it. Tomorrow is 3 years since we bought this campus. Tomorrow is 3 years since we bought this campus. Tomorrow is 3 years since we purchased Ifatunde Avenue, Dr. Papa Boulevard. That building behind me is the Honorable Marcus Garvey Elementary School. That's our goal. That's our goal. That building behind me is the Honorable Frederick Douglass High School. That's our goal. That's our goal. But brothers and sisters, the reason black folks need white folks to admit they're racist is because you want a friendly relationship. You desire a friendly relationship with your oppressor. This is part of your problem. This is part of your problem. This is part of your problem. You desire a friendly relationship with your oppressor. You don't desire freedom. You don't desire equality. You desire a friendly relationship. Peace and black power. Oh, that's Mar, right? I didn't even know that was you, man. Oh, man. But I'm going to tune out. Give a shout out to the people one time.
Oh, shout out to y'all, man. This Mar coming from Baltimore, man. Was in Philly. Shout out to y'all, man. Tuning in. I listened to your lecture, the white fragility, man. It was really, really powerful, man. Just about to check out the school.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. So I'm gonna fade out.